Hello, everyone. Welcome to the fourth edition of Fold Talks. My name is Erkan Affan, and I am your host for tonight. I'm really excited to be doing this panel specifically tonight because it's with three artists that I admire so much, and we have pulled out all the stops to be able to bring this together. So this is a very special edition that we're calling World Edition. And without further ado, I'm going to allow my artists to introduce themselves, and we're going to just get the conversation rolling. So firstly, let's start with you, Kübra Uzun.
Hi, darling.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. This is Kübra, all pronouns. I am a songwriter, singer, LGBTQI plus rights activist, and working in abroad and in Turkey. And as a coordinator, also a creator, I am reaching out to queers, to my people everywhere I can. So yeah, this is me. Hi.
Neneciğim, sana geçelim.
My real name is Beste. I go with artist name Nene H or Nene H or Nene H. And I've been living in Germany since 15 years. I have been producing, doing some political work. I've been DJing, and I also have a label now. And also I try to support as many POC and queer artists as possible with all the work I'm doing, which also includes Siraen, the party that we're doing in Istanbul. Yeah, that's about it.
Thank you. Sür, or Mx Sür for those who don't know them.
Hi, this is Mx Sür. My pronouns are they and it. I'm a DJ since 2007. I'm very old person now. And I'm also a producer. We co-found a label called XSM Recordings with Kübra. And also, I love graphic design. I'm also a graphic designer, and I used to work as promoter, booker, event manager, and also writer for the magazines. It's more or less what I do, and also I can call myself also a human activist. Yeah.
Thank you. That's actually a really important point to continue from in terms of being a human rights activist, because I think as queer people and as allies from Turkey who are living in Turkey or abroad, unfortunately we've involuntarily had to become human rights activists in some sort of way because of the violence and the repression that we, especially as LGBTQI plus people, are facing in the country. So with that in mind, I want to start talking about the collectives that all three of you have formed and the labels and the music that you're releasing, because I mean, all three of you are platforming a lot of queer and trans artists in Turkey, from Turkey and abroad. So Kübra, let's start with you and Mx Sür with XSM. How did that start? What is it? Give us a bit more information.
Because of the sourceless space, the country, Turkey itself, we wanted to create that space for queers, and in 2020 we founded with Mx Sür and bir guy, XSM Recordings. It's ex-stepmother recordings, and we founded it with a song titled Alan 2020. Alan means territory, so it's a queer rap song, and I write the lyrics and I perform it, and we produce it with Mx Sür together, and this is our very first release of XSM. And since then, how many releases we had so far, Sür?
We had 15 releases, and soon we're gonna release 16. It's gonna be the T-pop, second T-pop.
I mean, it
Yeah.
started
Yeah.
as a queer record label, and then in 2022 January we started our bi-monthly parties together with the queer community in Istanbul. We have a crowded lineup in XSM parties because of we wanna we want everyone to be visible as much as we can. Instead of the crowded lineup, in each iteration we have also a pop-up exhibition of a queer artist, and then we have like performances in between of the nights. It's like it became one of the it parties of Istanbul locally with Siraen, of course. We are sisters, XSM and Siraen. We are very proud and happy to reach too many youngsters, people, queer people from the community, and that's everything. I mean, when you create that space, that safe space, where we can have fun, dance, where we can think and create. So it's more than everything. Yeah.
I mean, you've become a reference point. I mean, Mx Sür, Kübra, both of you, as someone who wasn't raised in Istanbul, wasn't even raised in Turkey, when I heard of XSM, when I saw the releases, I mean, it was a dream come true. And when I speak to other artists from Turkey and the diaspora as well, to see both of you championing queer art, queer culture through music, through performance, through clubs, it's so inspirational. It's so influential. And Nene, that also ties in a lot to what you do as well with Siraen, because I mean, as an artist who's also able to kind of navigate the European, the UK scenes a lot more, I think that with Siraen you're also able to draw visibility. I mean, you recently brought people from Malayunta to Istanbul. That's a mood.
Yeah. That's for me, for me it was, first of all, of course, my stand of how I was raised, and we culturally, we want to be a community, we want to be all together, and in Europe trying to making it hustling, you become very self-focused, self-observed, okay, I have to make it and once I really relaxed into my, let's say, success, or where I am at, I was longing for this community feeling where it really made sense. You know what I mean? Because there is something that is so special, because against all the odds, these beautiful people are creating the space. So it was for me something that I selfishly, of course, take so much from, but also for me to give back to the community, in which I can also hopefully be part of making them more visible and give them more voice and visibility in more global, or at least in Europe, like whatever I can do to make that happen. That was like two things that I am still, of course, like wishing to achieve with this,
Definitely. I mean, Sür, also the same with you and your work.
Yeah, and I just want to add that actually before XSM as well, there were all these young, super talented queer people. They were existing, like they were there. It's just this collective like brought them on the surface, like for the visibility. Like actually, we just gathered them. Like they were already there. They were already producing, and they were super talented. I'm shocked. I'm so shocked. There are so many. I got chills right now. Like really. Like I was so shocked. Like all these visual artists, all these musicians. Like wow. And actually, they also felt more. How do you say? Together when we start to do the events, actually, because when we started as a recording like label, okay, we were in touch with some people, but when we start to be on the field, like to touch each other and to see each other, then it became something else, and then they want a part of the project. So yeah, so I'm really happy about this.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
like that you said field as well, because field is also another way of saying alan. So it's
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
like it's creating this alan, creating this field where the pre-existing talent has a space to be able to come together.
Yeah.
And I think Pride in Turkey, in Istanbul, as one of the biggest in, I don't know, I would say one of the biggest probably out there, regardless of the fact that it has now been banned, is a perfect example of this. And Mx Sür, I mean, last year after I was released from custody, the first thing I did was get in contact with you to ask you to do a 1 hour mix for NTS.
Yeah.
And you did all queer and trans underground artists, lubunya from Turkey, all these productions that you had all worked with XSM, and it was unbelievable. So you're essentially becoming like you're creating anthems of resistance.
Yeah, and one thing is funny that they're so talented, but now I'm telling from this platform as well. They just, we always have to come on, do this, like come on, like do this. I mean, how can I say? Like I just want them to, like they can do on their own, and I just want them to wake up. They're so talented. They're just sometimes not at work, but to give. Sometimes they can be, okay, no. But you know what I mean. So XSM is, that's why we're a mothering project. So, but as I told you, like we're not creating like lots of things. They're already there. That's the thing. They're already so talented. I'm so amazed.
Yeah, real. Nene, I want to talk about Umay Works, and specifically about the artists that you've been platforming on your label. I mean, Bashka, a fellow lubunya, an icon. I mean, I've been hearing Akbad everywhere. So tell us a little bit about how you've also been platforming artists and how that is also, it's not just Turkey-centric, but it's lubunya, queer and trans artists from Turkey, also abroad as well.
So what I'm hoping is, for me there is ay canım benim.
Aşkım iyi
İyi.
Helal.
Helal, evet. Ay.
Much better with the red one. Yeah, sorry.
Gurgle or ne deniyor ona hani? What was the question? Umay, for me it's like, for me there is one love for Svana region, we are seen here as, like, from European eyes, we are seen as basically one, they can't like separate us from each other. It is what it is. Like we get the same type of racism, we get the same type of polarism, or how is it called? And we also face the same kind of algorithm, and like we have it a little bit harder here to succeed in whatever we are doing in Europe. So for me, it's like just to push this group of people, especially, has been always a dream of mine. So I'm this is why I'm like working on basically focusing on their music. But of course, it's not only Turkey for me. It's also, I wish that it was, but XSM is already doing it. So the icons are already iconing. So
We need more icons.
Yeah. So and they're doing it amazingly. They're mothering the whole community there. So my wish is to, having Farsi artists, Kurdish artists, everybody, just bringing all of these talented people also in Europe, living in Europe, and having less opportunities, all together, creating a community, hopefully, in a way that has not been done before, because in the end, we all feel a little bit disconnected, and we all live in Europe as like nomads somehow. You know, it feels like a little bit off always. I'm sure that you know also how it feels like, you know.
Yeah, no, I agree with you definitely, and I think to be able to create that interaction as well, because another thing is like, I mean, London, Berlin, Amsterdam, Copenhagen, these places have so much they can learn from Istanbul. And Istanbul delivers in a way, for instance, and other places as well. I mean, Beirut delivers in a way, Tunis delivers, Cairo, like the way these places deliver, the artists that come from these places. And one of our previous panels, we had artists from all over the Swana, and we were discussing this, how we all kind of get boxed into the same narrative, but every single one of these cities is like a hotspot for different types of like musical excellence that comes out. But I want to bring it back to Istanbul a little because, of course, with, you know, the changes that are happening in the country, I don't even want to call them changes, the regressions, the backwardness that we're experiencing as a country, and also Istanbul as this hyper-focused place with a population of over 20 million people. How is this manifesting in club culture? So how are you able, in this hostile climate, to still run events for lubunya, especially as visible lubunya?
Yani, we are lack of spaces to run those gatherings, like parties, like also technical difficulties, and you know, also the political climate in Turkey, like which is getting worse by the results of the last elections. In terms of as resistance, it's always something to create a space when you don't have that ability, when it's not given to you. It's something. That's what we are trying to do as Siraen and XSM. But of course we are like sometimes from time to time have those difficulties in terms of funding those events, you know, in terms of sustaining those events. We have luckily with XSM our main sponsor, which gives like to run the nights like in a minimum level, let's say, money wise. But we don't have else, you know. Thankfully they are, you know, still helping, like kind of. But
there's just one sponsor,
yeah, we have one sponsor. We don't have anyone to go and ask money.
And does this sponsor even guarantee your security? It doesn't, right?
Yani,
Yani güvenliğini resmen hiçbir zaman sizi koruyabiliyor mu?
No. Yani, but with their support, it's like somehow sustainable, but not the security wise, yeah. And also lack of spaces. We have like feel like Shaika Suma. Where else? Yani, come on. If we can, not. I mean, I'm not talking about, you know, Suma, but
yeah.
I mean, we are lack of spaces, even lack of sponsors, lack of.
That's the thing.
Yani.
Everything. Because actually, I want to add why we need the sponsors, because actually we are doing underground parties. Normally you don't need the sponsors if you're doing this in European countries. Actually you don't need to put a brand or something, but we need it because we have lots of taxes, so many taxes, like alcohol tax, entertainment taxes, but huge. So we cannot do it. Like alcohol prices are so high. Like you have to put lots of fee for the entrance. So without the sponsor, it's I mean, you don't do it. It's better. So that's one part. Also, one of the, I mean, we are doing this underground parties, but also we are taking photos and we are posting them on Instagram. It's actually a bit controversial because normally when you do the underground parties, you don't put anything, but we want the visibility. So that's why we want to show, we want them to see, we want them to feel what we are doing in our parties. So we don't hide ourselves. That's why we are, because before, or I mean, if you ask me to do an underground parties, of course nothing, like you don't put anything at all. But in Turkey, in Istanbul, it's a choice that we make. We want to be seen, and they see, okay, they're doing this, so it's important.
It's already political act also.
Yeah, actually, putting those photos on our Instagram profiles is a part of our activism, actually.
I just wanted to add another thing, which is so crazy. Istanbul is so expensive. I was shocked how expensive it is. And then you know how much artists are earning per gig? It's like 50 euros. What, like you can't cover any cost with that. Like it's not human that you get only 50 euros, where that 50 euros is already in 1 day, 2 days, it's just spent, you know what I mean? So there is also this unbalance, but you also can't pay more as a underground party owner, because you also don't have shit, like you don't have nothing either. So
Take the banana.
5 bananas in Istanbul is now 5 euros. 5 bananas, can you believe it? So, and a gig of a night for a DJ is 50 euros. Let's say more normally less, but let's say 50. And 5 bananas are 5 euros. So, what shall we do? Like eating bananas only? Like what?
Istanbul is more expensive than Berlin, for sure. To live in Istanbul,
For sure.
it is more expensive than Berlin. And then on top of that, where are the creatives gonna earn the money from? You know, it's like I don't know, like the life. Maybe it's also the creativity comes from this all like impossibilities. But to me, like it feels so impossible. Every time I'm going there, I'm so amazed by like how much money I spend, and it's crazy. I mean,
It's so crazy. It's crazy, especially for, I mean, for Flinta people. Like they don't have any contact with their family. Their families, they don't want to see them and everything. So they don't have any fucking support. When, I mean, we are trying to include everyone. Also, we are trying to found from what we earned. We're trying to share and give back to community, and we're trying to make huge lineups. Like, actually, personally, if I do a party for my taste, I want a DJ to play at least 3 hour set. But to have lots of people, to support many people, they just play 1 hour and everything. It's really, at the end of the day, it's nothing. It's so hard to be a creative person in Istanbul, and we are doing our best, and it's not how do you say, satisfying actually, money wise. It's not, even if we're doing our best, it's not satisfying for us. It's not satisfying for community, because as Nene said, it's crazy expensive. It's getting more and more and more. I don't know. Like
With all of the things that we're facing as people from Turkey and the diaspora, with like direct links with like home, lubunya have to use gulum in order to get through this. Like music bans, police like repression, earthquake, election results.
Because
So-
gulum comes with the gathering, you
So
know.
talk about
we
that.
should be together to make gulum. You know, we say chit chat, kind of, and you know, with joy, with happiness, but together. So when you have that gulum, it means that you're not alone. You are resisting. You're together. You're like singing, fucking, dancing, everything together. But you're having gulum. So when you have that gulum, and when you stick on that gulum, everything the rest comes up.
Of course, darling, you cannot survive without gullum in Turkey. You cannot survive. It's our way. It's our way to survive. Like, even if lots of things are happening, we just have our gullum, so we can continue. That's our main source.
Yeah, it's like a button. Yeah, you switch on Gollum button and everything else
but
is
see,
fine.
and
yeah.
it's like-
you forget everything.
The harder something
Yeah.
is, the better the gullum is as well. Like,
Yeah.
I remember when we were in custody last year after Pride, oh my God, like being in that van, the gullum, it was unbelievable. And you know, of course, when you speak lubunya,
Yeah.
like the police have no idea what you're saying. So you're there having these conversations with other lubunya, and it's just gullum, gullum,
Think about
gullum.
like 30 queers in a
bus.
police van.
Exactly.
And then you're talking queer slang, Turkish queer slang, lubunja.
Exactly.
They don't understand
They
and
have
you are
no
like,
idea. And you're literally there like rating the police officers and you're like, yeah, no, definitely not. And you're having these conversations and they have absolutely no idea. And if you lift your head up for a second, you see that you're literally sitting in a police
Yeah.
van.
Yeah.
You have had no water, no air, no food for 16 hours.
Yeah.
You hear screams coming from outside because every once in a while, someone's arm gets broken by a police officer or a lawyer gets assaulted outside. You say, is this the reality that I'm in right now? But then you just bring yourself back down and suddenly you're around all
it's
these other
empowering.
queers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Gollum itself is empowering.
And they
you
can't
know.
break your spirit.
Yeah.
No matter how much
Yeah,
they try,
yeah.
they cannot break your spirit. And Istanbul is the heart of that. Istanbul literally projects that spirit everywhere else. And I think that you three are part of projecting that. And you three are part of also putting that on the map. And what you said, Sür, about visibility, you know, in Europe, visibility can be a trap.
Yeah.
It can be corporatism, it can be commercialism, it can be depoliticization.
Yeah.
The more visible you are in Turkey, the more powerful you become. And the more you're literally saying fuck you
Yeah.
to every single systemic thing that is trying to stop you from existing.
Yeah.
But I want to bring it to something else, which is, Nene, for you, how is it when you, in the clubs in Berlin, in the clubs in Copenhagen, as an artist from Turkey, as a promoter and an event organizer who does events with artists in Turkey, how does it feel for you to navigate that difference? What's the energy difference like for you, for instance?
Yeah, where there is more pressure, I guess. Pressure making diamonds. That's the thing. Like, you know, the word safe space in Berlin is such a vague term because Berlin is like bubble in a bubble in a bubble, and then the clubs as safe space. What does that even mean? You know. And then in Turkey, you go and then safe space is a safe space, you know?
Yeah.
In Berlin, you could say safer spaces, maybe.
Yeah.
But actually, Berlin is quite safe, you know?
There are, you know, not to kind of like toot the horn too much, but with Fold, for instance, I mean, I know that there's always feedback and engagement with the staff that work here. You know, they always have people on the door, they always have a team that is trained, there's welfare, and there's organizations or collectives, let's say, in London, like Safe Only, that are there to train security guards to be able to effectively do their job without infringing on people's rights. Because Nene, as you said, as queer people, we're already so, especially as queer people of color, we're already so hyper aware of ourselves. And I've had many conversations on many panels about this. It's like we can romanticize club culture all we want, but that journey of getting into the club itself can actually be so traumatic because at the door, you're like, who am I dealing with, you know? And a lot of queer spaces, there's always someone at the door who's guiding you, who's saying, okay, look, this is this space, be comfortable. Fold does this very well. Like, shout out to Celia and Stella for Unfold. They're always at the door making sure that everyone feels comfortable. The security guards always do that too. But yeah, it is a general issue, definitely, in terms of security can sometimes be police adjacent.
Yeah.
And I think as people from Turkey, because of the various experiences that we've had with the police, when we see that reflected in security guards, it triggers us.
Yes.
I mean, I've had those incidents so many times where I'm like, don't touch me. Are you trying to arrest me? Like, why are you touching me?
Yeah.
Same. Once also, like in one club, there was one only black guy who was right in front of me, dancing, having his fun, and then he came up the booth and stood there, and behind me is the one of the guys who is working, and he got really pissed and all of a sudden like left, and then I see him grabbing the guy while I'm playing, pulling him down, and then they took him out, yeah. And I went like, while I was playing, I was like, I'm gonna cut this music now, like, please God, like, please, how can I now play one more track, you know, like, and then one more hour feels like a torture to you, because you feel that, because you have also been through that, you know what I mean, where you didn't feel welcomed in a space,
Yeah.
you know, and where you are looked towards as even worse. Like, if it was a white guy, would it have been the same thing, you know? Also, just being a woman is such a
Exactly.
topic, you know, in Turkey, you know. It's also, you come, I came here when I was 20, and I came here with so many traumas to Germany. Like, I basically ran away from so many horrible things that have happened to me before, that actually changed my life in longer period, in a good way, because you learn from it and you become the person that you are. But actually, when you see all these other women who hasn't been through all that, and then you ask yourself, okay, is this normal, you know, is this how it is supposed to be? But in our society, we face a lot of troubles, you know.
And also, we also talk about this with Nene. You know how the crowd, how the young, how this new generation in Turkey, they're amazing. Like, they're really, like, really, our crowd is like really good.
It's the
Yeah,
best
really?
crowd in the world. It's the
It
best crowd in the world.
Really, really. So I'm just so sad. Like, we don't have. I mean, I'm from another generation. Let's say, of course, we are still doing the same things and everything, but they don't. They never had the freedom. They never had the freedom as we had. But if I compare, it's totally um, they deserve more, like, really, because art people, music people, I don't know, all the freelancer people, I don't know, like, from all the I don't want to include only the art scene and the music scene, but for everyone it's a disaster, because this city is boiling, like, really, it's a hot spot actually, but it's because of the politics that it goes to another direction. It could be, like, really, really, because of course it's a cliche, but it's also a fact. Istanbul, I'm not generalizing the Turkey, the country Turkey, but Istanbul is like really interesting and inspiring city where where European culture meets the Occidental culture. It's a cliche, but it's a fucking fact. It's a fact. And and this clash is as you said, is like a diamond. Like, it's giving lots. It's a non-stop producing thing, and I'm so sad that this generation didn't see the freedom that we had, like, in 15 years ago. It's breaking my heart, and I don't think that it's going to go to a better direction.
We had as freedom on that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they know what they don't have now. So that's why they are boiling, you know. Yeah, I mean, of course, being a Gen Z is, you know, something that they're aware of everything. Like when I was 20s, like I was like, tree, yeah, mountain. But, I mean, but because of they are aware also what they don't have in terms of freedom, so that's why it encourage every individual, like every woman, youngsters, queers, like to produce, to create, to be together more than ever. Because this is the power itself. This is the freedom that you can create in that, you know, habitat yourself, not constitutionally, but as individually. Yeah, I mean, it's so powerful. It's so valuable. It's a golden thing.
And also, I want to add something because people in Europe think that when we had this kind of difficulties, they think it's already how do you say Moyen Orient, Middle East. It's already Middle East, so it's your daily life. But no, bitch, it's not our daily life. It was not like this before. It was not like this at all, and it's not our life. It's not like this. So it's not a thing that we are facing all the time, every day. No, it's because of this fucking government, and yeah, and if it's not that interesting for the rest of the world if when we face this kind of problems. It's not a problem. It's your daily life. No, bitch, it's not our daily life.
So I wanna jump in here and say that I've totally agree with everything you're saying, and so many different artists as well who aren't part of this panel but are part of the scene in Istanbul and beyond in Turkey have been speaking about. I mean, I remember Jay Tangri posted something recently about how after the election results came in, they had like 6 different international outlets reaching out to them, wanting to do an article on what it's like to be a queer and a non-binary and a trans person living in this government, under this government. And I think what's really interesting is the precedence for all of these conversations when the West want to talk about Turkey is as if we have always been this backwards place, this regressive place. Yani, firstly, we don't even have pronouns in Turkish. You can never misgender someone in Turkish. He, she, it. We're all the same. Like we don't have that. So inherently, that sets our language apart immediately from many other languages. Yeah. But I'm not here gonna be like championing that necessarily alone. But what I will say is this: that like there's so many different artists who have functioned and who operate against this like nouveau orientalist gaze of seeing us as newly oppressed people who are going through this hardship which has been around for like centuries because of the barbaric society that we're from. And actually it was never like that.
I feel like they're also enjoying it. They're like kind of, we are like this scapegoat or something that they enjoy to throw like, these are like these people, you know, like these are, they, because they feel better about themselves by putting us in a worse place. Iran also the same way, you know. It's because we earned that shit. We earned to be with this government. We earned to be like in this sucky situation. You know.
Yeah.
So
and I think
they just feel better about themselves. So
Yeah, totally. And I also want to add something. I will not mention a name or something, but I've been doing parties, organizing events for a while, like 15 years or something, and we work like, I don't know, with everyone actually in the scene. Of course, because before the pandemic and everything, but the people who are considering themselves themselves as activists. When you no, the thing is when something happen in here, I don't think that it's the right moment to come to Turkey. Okay, I can be a very pretty activist when I'm in a free country as well. But come on, let's if you consider yourself as an activist, come try my experience.
Try my
Yeah.
experience.
Then they call themselves
call-
queer
then
activists in
call-
Europe.
Then say that you are an activist, producer, DJ, or whatever you are. If you don't do this, if you don't come and join us and don't see the world from our perspective, then
But this is
You're not
you're
in
not in solidarity. Then you're not in solidarity. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Before Malahunta came, actually, there was a bombing. You remember?
Yeah,
And we asked them. We said that we understand completely if you decide not to come. Like, we understand, because this is what we are basically expecting from them to say. Like, okay, this is not safe now, because in Germany the government already put those papers. It's not safe to go to Turkey. You know, and they all came back to us like, "Are you crazy? We're of course coming." You know, and then you see what's up, you know?
Come and see how we have it, you know.
Yeah.
It's already the same tracks you play, but you should play the same tracks to different people in terms of joy, in terms of rave. What is rave? Baby, don't hurt me. Rave is resisting. So you call yourself as a the rave DJs, we commonly the Berlin or there and there. So I mean, it's already there. Come to rave in Istanbul, you'll see. Yani, rave is resistance. Resistance comes from existence. We exist there. So come and see our existence. Come and have that gathering, have solidarity with us to see and to feel. Then your set feels very different to you, even you play the same tracks.
I'm gonna make a track of this recording, bitch.
No, do you know what though? I think this was the most organic conversation that I've had in a really long time. I think the fact that we're based in 3 different countries having this conversation.
Yeah.
It's so surreal to me to even be sitting here with Kübra, and I really just want to take a second to also like put respect on that. Kübra is an icon. You are an icon, Nene. Sür, you are an icon. And to have Kübra here on this ground right here, having this conversation.
Haven't you all, darling?
Of course, I'm going to get to that.
Yeah,
To have you here, to have you on this ground, to be having this conversation. Sür, you too.
London is not ready for Kübra.
London is not ready for Kübra. London is not ready for Kübra. London is not ready. Aşkım.
No.
London.
I will tell them when they need to be ready.
But yeah, and with both of you as well, Sür, like the opportunity will arise very, very soon, inshallah, to have you here on soil with us in London. All 4 of us will be here. Yüz yüze kavuşacağız.
I hope so.
And thank you so much for being part of this conversation. It's been an absolute honor to have all 3 of you here and to be talking about, you know, our beautiful city, Istanbul, to be talking about our cultures and our communities. I mean, it's a really, it's a dream come true.
Yeah.
And also, I want to add something. We're suffering. We're not that desperate, bitch.
Yes, listen. I wanted to also say, yes, that's true. That's true. Everybody's like, you poor you. After the elections, everyone is like, how are you feeling? Like, fuck off. We're okay. My mom is okay. You know, just let us be. Like, let us be. You're not helping anyways. Like, why are you being like poor you? You know, what the fuck is that?
What? This is the thing. People think pity is solidarity.
Yeah.
Pity is not solidarity.
Yeah, it is not.
We don't need
There's a thin line. There's a thin line. We're not desperate. Okay, we're suffering, but we're not that desperate. Sorry. Thank you.
So it's been an absolute pleasure to have all three of you in this conversation, to be talking about our communities, to be platforming the various different collectives and the labels that you've started and the artists that you have supported. And it's a real honor. So thank all three of you individually. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Gerçekten yani. Sizi çok seviyorum. Çok teşekkür ediyorum üçünüze de. And I also...
Thanks for having us.
Of course, and also as always, thank you to the entire Fold team. Thank you to the audience as well for tuning in. You lot, I'm sure you lot have been informed from this. Thank you also, big shout out to T and James as always, and to Lois, also our co-programmer, who's also been clicking from the back as well. So just have you all here with us, it's dope. So thank you, love you all so much. Love you guys as well. Thank you.
Çağlar. Hope to see you soon in flesh.
Tamam.
Love you.
Tamam çok iyi. Çok efsanediniz. Ellerinize ağzınıza sağlık. Çok teşekkürler.